The Baku City Circuit is a unique street circuit that winds its way through the streets of Azerbaijan's capital city, Baku. The Baku Grand Prix has produced some very memorable moments in recent years, which include collisions, multiple safety cars, and many unexpected results. To name a few, the battle between Ricciardo and Bottas in 2017, or Verstappen and Ricciardo colliding in 2019, or even in 2021, Verstappen crashing out of the lead with 5 laps to go. Some past winners of the Baku City Grand Prix include Rosenberg, Ricciardo, Hamilton, Bottas, Perez, and Verstappen, all with Mercedes or Red Bull. At the end of the day, Baku will give us an entertaining and beautiful race to watch. I'm looking forward to another classic race. Hey guys, pleasure to see you. It's been a while. I feel like I talked to you guys earlier in the month, and then it's been like weeks since the last race in Australia. And so I've been doing good. I posted a few videos on the channel, and you know what? Maybe I've had a little bit too much free time on my hands a little bit, but hope you had a chance to check those out and that you've enjoyed them. If not, go ahead and check them out on the channel. And yeah, just trying new stuff. I'm really just trying to have fun with it, not taking myself too seriously, but just trying new formats and just some ideas I have and just seeing how they do. But this week, we are in Baku, and this race on the calendar also has a sprint race attached to it. Personally, I'm not a huge fan of this idea. It comes off a little bit tacky. And for me, I'm coming from IndyCar where there is doubleheader weekends. At this point, I feel like they're kind of just adding it on as it almost just trying to make, all this extra drama, and they're trying to make it more exciting, and it's supposed to be for the fans, and I understand that. However, I'm not the hugest fan. It just seems a little bit like a money grab, a little tacky, and it takes away from the race at hand, in my opinion. And it also gives opportunity for some drivers to have issues with their car. I mean, you're spending how much money on this series? They want their car ready for the main race. And so when you have this sideshow kind of thing, it almost feels like filler anime episodes. They're not canon. They still get points for it. Yeah, sure. But it's only a couple points. It's not really going to be super meaningful in the long run. But I don't know. I can see the appeal as a fan, and just I'm not going to complain. To be honest, I watched part of the sprint race, and I was able to catch that, and it was entertaining. I love racing, right? But then just so what? What's the meaning of this, right? I mean, yeah, it does play an impact on the starting grid, and then what the heck is qualifying for? So qualifying is basically this huge group thing where you're actually racing for 17 laps, and it just seems like there's a lot that could go wrong, and it could put people in really bad positions. You saw some people that got their cars, they DNF'd in the sprint race, and then they're starting in the back, and they probably have decent cars. And you saw Max get some damage there, which, honestly added some drama. I love to see it. I like that aspect of things. And I guess as a fan, you could be okay, I can't afford to go to the big race. Maybe it's more expensive, so the sprint race is cheaper. At least gives you kind of an in to Formula One, being able to at least see a race. I can totally see that part of it too. So I think there's definitely pros and cons. For me, I'm not the hugest fan of it, but you know what? They got to do what they got to do. But the result of the sprint race is going to tell us what the starting grid is for the actual race tomorrow for me at 6 a.m. So that'll be an early one. And so I'm going to go ahead and throw the starting grid up on the screen, and we can talk about it a little bit. And so in the past, Red Bull and Mercedes have had a lot of success here, and I don't think there's anything too different. I do it's nice seeing Leclerc and Sainz in the mix up front. They have been kind of struggling recently, and so coming off Australia, that'll be good for them to maybe be in the mix up front. Maybe, right? Ferrari fans, rip. I did make that Sainz song as kind of a for the memes, but trolling. But Leclerc was, pretty strong last year, but then ended up, a couple laps in, having some issues with his car. So hopefully he can finish the race. At the very least, that'd be a start. And then you could see Mercedes in the mix, and so much so in the mix that we even have some drama there with Verstappen and George Russell. I so very hope that they have some more encounters in the actual race. But I'm actually kind of disappointed in Aston Martin.
I think that they have better cars than what they're leading on here in their results in the sprint race. And so hopefully they're able to climb a little bit further up. And then I did see McLaren actually doing pretty well in practice. And so I know Lando Norris didn't end up where he maybe wanted to, but I think him and Oscar have decent rides. And so hopefully they're able to climb a little bit further up. And then I guess none of the other names seem super noteworthy. I do know that Bottas has history here and has done well here in the past. I don't know if Alfa Romeo has a car good enough for him to compete at that level, but my hope is that he's able to bring that experience to the table. At the end of the day, my friends, we have a track that has some really cool components to it. It's like we're throwing F1 cars in the 1500s, and there's castles and these really cool old towny vibe to it. And I think it's super cool. Some of the parts are very thin, and so I'm excited to see some cars squeeze through there, aka George Russell and Verstappen. But I also think that there is some nice tight corners where you could see some cool braking maneuvers to execute some overtakes, and also a very long front straight to allow for some drafting and also some more overtaking on that side. So that'll kind of be the bulk of the passing there. And honestly, with what I saw in the sprint race, the cars are pretty tight together. I wasn't able to watch any of the past races necessarily, but the sprint race, it seemed like everybody's pretty bunched together, at least for that 17-lap period. And so hopefully that's how it is during the actual race, and they're able to get pretty racy. But I don't really see anybody beating Red Bull unless something crazy happens. And so, I'm thinking probably Red Bull, maybe Ferrari cracks in the top 3, maybe a Mercedes cracks in the top 3. I'll make the prediction Verstappen, Perez, and then I think, I don't know if I want to go with Leclerc. I think I'm going to go with George Russell getting 3rd place for tomorrow. So I will see you after the race, and I'm excited to be back. Let's go racing. All right, so that is a wrap for the Baku City Grand Prix. And so starting off here, we had Ferrari getting some early leads. They looked racy for probably like 10 seconds. The Leclerc got the lead on the first lap, led for about 4 laps, and then you saw Verstappen pass him on lap 4, and Perez come around and pass him on lap 5. After people kind of settled in after the start, we saw tires and strategy become the name of the game for this race, and not really much else. But people started pitting within like the first 10 laps. Most of the field had pitted, and especially some of the middle of the pack guys, and a few of the teams up top waited a little bit later on. And so that first cycle, you see the Williams and the Alpines and those kinds of cats pit in. And what we see is people switching out the medium tires after 10 or so laps and going straight to hard tires for the rest of the race, 50 some odd laps on the hard tires. And so really most everybody was on the 2-stop strategy. We only saw Hülkenberg and Ocon on the 1-stop strategy, which really didn't allow for some of those middle of the pack guys to get racy. They kind of held them up for most of the races, almost like there was a blockade in the middle of the field because we had these 2 individuals that didn't pit, and were generally decent, okay speed, but enough so to kind of keep people at bay. And so that prevented a lot of the middle of the pack guys from maybe getting up higher than what they could have maybe gotten up to. But later on they ended up pitting. But yeah, that was the first kind of little bit of the race. There wasn't anything too drama filled until we get to Nick DeVries and the debris, right? Nick DeVries when he hit the wall. So let's talk about that. So when Nick DeVries hits the wall, or I guess when he hits the wall and kind of spins off to the side, immediately Red Bull sends Verstappen into the pits before the yell is even thrown. And, I'm like, oh, this is a great idea. He can, not get caught out, maybe get ahead of the game a little bit. And I don't know what they were anticipating. But so initially I thought Sergio Perez kind of got hosed, but it ended up working out the other way. in that they threw the virtual car, they threw the yellow, and what happened is pretty much all the other guys in the top of the field were able to pit, and that essentially gave them a couple second advantage to the people who pitted prior, because everybody's going slower on a yellow, and so their pit stops were not going to take up as much time or track position as the people that were pitting under green flag. And so that definitely played a factor in Sergio Perez kind of hopping over Verstappen and ultimately getting the win. But that kind of caused some drama. And you know what? The race was so full of just exciting things that they felt the need to talk about this the whole time because there's nothing else to talk about. They're like, oh yeah, what is Red Bull doing? What's that mistake? Blah, blah, blah. But regardless, they made a mistake. Verstappen got a couple seconds back further than he maybe should have been. But nonetheless, everybody else kind of pitted through. We had a restart, and the Ferraris looked racy for another 10 seconds, and then everything kind of filled back into place what it was prior. So the yellow didn't change all that much besides the switching of the Red Bulls and obviously taking Nick de Vries out. But then after that, it was green flag racing the rest of the way. But I did want to note that a lot of people were kissing walls today. And so that's right. We're going to talk about kissing walls. Not literally, but they were slipping and sliding a lot. And as I mentioned, we did have a more tire and strategy kind of this race. And so you could see a lot of people, their backsides getting a little loose, kind of whipping into turns. It was really tight. And it's beautiful castles and everything, right? But it's not super wide. It's very narrow. And so you could see some people dealing with oversteer, dealing with understeer, and a lot of backs of cars hit the wall. And so maybe just skim the wall, not enough to take the car out, but you did see people slipping and slide all over the place. You got to think they pitted on lap 10 or so, or even before that. And so they're dealing with tire management the whole race, which is very difficult to do. And not everybody's good at that. So that was just something to note. We had, I could probably list off everybody who kissed the wall, but I'm not going to do that because that'll just be a waste of time. But yeah, a lot of people kissing walls. And I almost wish that there was some other yellow to mix it up a little bit in the second half of the race to make this thing a little bit more exciting, but it never really got to that point. But let's go ahead and see the results and break it down a little bit further. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and throw the results up on the screen, and let's talk about it a little bit. And so first we have Sergio Perez and Max Verstappen. I think there is no doubt they were going to be up there 1-2, just whatever order they chose this weekend. But I was maybe expecting less of a gap between them and the next team. In third place, I felt like in the sprint race, we kind of got a taste of other people kind of racing with them a little bit. And so I was hoping that it wouldn't be such a discrepancy during the race, but that did end up being true. I honestly was surprised that Charles Leclerc was able to finish third. I almost certainly thought something would go wrong because that's just the mantra with Ferrari. Fernando Alonso, I was impressed on how he climbed up a little bit, a couple spots. And, he didn't maybe qualify the best and have the best sprint race, but he did end up finding a way to get fourth. And then Carlos Sainz kind of hung around, pretty much non-factor all day. Lewis Hamilton complaining about tires and whatever he can complain about, but I ended up sixth. And I was really more so surprised with George Russell. In the pre-race, I had him going third. Honestly, I just, a little bit of copium there. I was trying to have him and Verstappen have some sort of showdown, but that ended up not coming to fruition. And then Lance Stroll he did hit the wall, and I think he had some issues with one of his tires, and so he was not able to keep the pace that Fernando had. Next, we had Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri finishing 9 and 11. We're starting to work our way down to the pack of people who were stuck behind a brick wall all day, and really until the last couple laps, they were able to finally execute some overtakes. And so we did see Lando Norris get points, and it would have been really nice to get both of them in the top 10, but unfortunately it didn't happen. We had Yuki working his way in at 10th, and of course his partner in crime, De Vries, hit the wall. Going on from there, We had the Williams cats. I feel like they maybe could have showed a little bit better this weekend. I mean, for real, like Akan started in the pits for the start of the race and ended up getting further than some of these other people. I don't know how that happens. Honestly, I was expecting a lot more from Valtteri Bottas. Given his history at this track, I figured he maybe would be able to at least finish in the middle of the pack, but I suppose not. But then we just had the two DNFs with Zhao and Nick DeVries, of course. But what are my thoughts? Thoughts on the race. It was very boring. There was very little that happened all day. I really would have liked to see more passing, more action, but this track did not give us that. I feel like part of it is you have a track that really you could probably not stop at all. If the rules did not force you to pit and change tires, you could probably run the whole race on the same tires, and it would probably get a little loose towards the end, but it's possible. And so I feel like a race that may have a 2 to 3 stop strategy allows for more error, allows for more strategy, and it was just kind of cookie cutter vanilla. Everybody was really on 2-stop strategy except the 2 people who started the race in the pit lane. And the tires didn't maybe the tire deck could have been a little bit better. The tire design, I feel like if the tires would have wore out a little bit faster, they would have had to make some different decisions. The hard tire was so overwhelmingly good that it just didn't make anything fun or anything exciting to watch. Of course, people were slipping and sliding, but they need to make it so that it's not promoting this just lingering, everybody stays in the same spot and the gaps don't change that much. It was just very frustrating to watch. You wake up at 6 a.m. and it's just like, ugh, come on. So I actually went mini golfing a few days ago, and this course had a lot of par twos. I mean, you missed it, the hole in one, okay, you just tap it in. That's kind of what I feel like when it comes to, to races that end up just being everybody's in the same strategy. It's just a 2-stop and it's just nothing happening. And so same thing with par twos. I wish that the mini golf course was a little bit bigger because it would have, left a little bit more room for skill. I mean, you missed the first shot, but then you got to make a couple other good shots to get it in the hole instead of everybody and their mother can just, finish the race or, get the hole in one anyways. I'm rambling on here. Yeah, just a frustrating day for me personally. I wish there was a little bit more to it. Nothing to really break down more in depth. The most exciting thing happened at the sprint race with George Russell and the Max Verstappen encounter after the sprint race. And so I was dogging on sprint racing. I have a little bit about sprint racing I'll play after this. But honestly, it was the best thing this weekend, in my opinion. So nonetheless, I will see you guys, I believe, next week for Miami. So they're hitting us right in the face with another one next week. And so I'm excited to break that down. They'll be getting their 2 feet onto United States soil, which is where I am from. And so that'll be exciting to keep up with. And maybe one day I'll get to go to a race in the States or even outside the States. But that'd be awesome. But I hope you guys have a great week. And let's talk a little bit and chat on socials and see kind of where we're at with what we thought on the race. And send me memes throughout the week too. I'd love to get some more memes. You guys didn't send me very many this past week, and I'd love to just build a community. I mean, and just enjoy racing and talk racing and just grow as a racing fan. But thanks for tuning in. Subscribe, follow me on my socials. They're all at Rhino_Racing2. And see you guys later.
Dude, watching F1 racing, it's gotta be my second favorite thing, dude.
What's your first favorite thing, dude?
Yeah, dude. Freaking sick. Yeah. But dude, what would be my third favorite thing? What if that a side event, right? Where the drivers got outside the car and sped walked, dude, around the chicane, dude, outside the car. And whoever got to the end of the chicane first, dude, got 10 points, man. Dude, what if, like, we did a hula hooping contest, right, dude? Inside the car, man. And what if the last driver to finish their hula hoop, dude, had to get 10 points subtracted by their score, dude? That would be super gnarly, dude. Whoa. Hula hooping. Or, dude, better yet, what if we had a side event, dude, where the drivers drive inside the car, dude, and they did a sprint race, again, inside the car, and what if they qualify on Friday, and that qualified for this race on Saturday, dude? But Saturdays are for the boys, bro. Yeah, what are you doing, man? I was thinking like 100 kilometers, bro. That would be a good distance, bro. And then first place gets 3 points, second place gets 2 points, and third place gets 1 point. Okay, and then
That's a terrible idea, dude. That's terrible.
And then no, I'm not done, dude. I'm not done. And then what if after that, well, the drivers had to use the same tires, yeah. And then that race on Saturday, instead of qualifying, determining the starting grid, dude, let me finish, bro. Instead of Saturday, regular qualifying being the starting grid, dude, this new sprint race inside the car, dude, determines the starting grid for the actual race that matters, dude. Dude, the fans will love it, dude. It'll be freaking sick.
I don't think I like that, dude. I don't think I like it at all. We should not do that. Please don't do that.
Alright, bro, I'm gonna add 6 of them things to the schedule. Yeah!
No! Don't do it, bro. No!